Before he was a name on the news, before he held a gun, before he was murdered in a railroad tunnel, Robert Sandifer was just a baby, born into a world that seemed determined to break him from the start. Chicago, 1983. The city was a patchwork of bustling downtown towers and forgotten neighborhoods where hope went to die. It was in one of those forgotten corners, Roseland on the south side, that Robert came into the world on March 12th. His mother, Lorena Sandifer, was just 17 years old, a child herself, already lost to the streets. His father, Robert Akins, was largely absent due to incarceration for a felony gun charge and swallowed by the prison system. From his first breath, the odds were stacked against him. Lorena was ill-equipped for motherhood. She was frequently arrested for drug use and prostitution, leaving her children to be shuttled between relatives and foster homes. Before Robert was even 3 years old, he was a case number with the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services, DCFS. Caseworkers documented the unthinkable: cigarette burns on his neck and arms, his small body bruised from beatings with an electrical cord. He was a quiet, watchful child, the kind who learns early that crime brings no comfort. Eventually, he and his siblings ended up at his grandmother's house on South Eberhard Avenue. But it was no sanctuary. It was a chaotic, overcrowded way station where as many as 19 other children sometimes lived, all competing for scraps of attention and food. There was no one to make sure Robert went to school, no one to ask if he was afraid. By the age of 7, he had stopped going altogether. The streets became his classroom, and they taught him a brutal curriculum. Trust no one, and the strongest survive. By the time Robert Sandifer was 8 years old, the streets of Roseland had become his classroom. School was a distant memory. He had stopped attending altogether. The overcrowded chaos of his grandmother's house, where as many as 19 children sometimes lived, offered no supervision, no boundaries, no safety. And on the streets of Roseland, the Black Disciples gang was the only real authority. So Robert roamed. At first, his crimes were the desperate acts of a child teaching himself to survive. He stole cars, small as he was, somehow managing to maneuver behind the wheel despite standing just 4 feet 6. He broke into houses, slipping through windows that older, larger criminals couldn't fit through. These weren't gang assignments, not yet. They were the improvisations of a boy who had learned that no one would give him anything, so he had to take it. But the streets have eyes, and the Black Disciples were always watching. They saw the small, hardened boy with the hollow eyes and recognized his potential immediately. To the gang, Robert wasn't a child in need of saving. He was a resource. He was young enough to face only juvenile penalties, small enough to be useful, and angry enough to follow orders without asking questions. They gave him what his family never could: a sense of belonging, an identity, a purpose. They gave him a tattoo on his right forearm, BDN3, marking him as theirs forever. And they gave him a nickname, Yummy, a cruel reminder of the cookies he loved, a childish name that now belonged to a soldier. By age 9, Robert was no longer just stealing for himself. He was running errands for the gang, and the crimes escalated. That year, he was arrested for armed robbery, a violent leap from petty theft. A psychological examiner who evaluated him around this time painted a devastating portrait.
Robert is a child growing up without any encouragement and support. He is lonely and feels poorly about himself. He has a sense of failure that has infiltrated almost every aspect of his inner self.
The report warned of what was coming.
His response to this flooding is to back away from demanding situations and act out impulsively and unpredictably. His anger is so great that his perception of the world is grossly distorted and inaccurate.
Robert was a ticking time bomb, assembled by neglect and armed by gangsters, and no one in power seemed able or willing to defuse him. By age 10, His arrest record was already extensive. He faced charges that included arson, drug possession, and that armed robbery at age 9. He had been arrested over 30 times in his short life, though the system had no idea what to do with him. He was too young for juvenile detention and too dangerous to place with children his own age. 13 Illinois facilities rejected him. He ran away from at least one group home. In the neighborhood, Robert was known for more than just his gang work. He bullied local children, extorted money from them, and terrorized the community. But there was another side to him, one that peeked through the cracks in his armor. During his psychological testing, he was asked to complete the sentence.
I am very sick.
When asked why he felt that way, he quickly retreated.
Why did you feel that way?
I didn't say that. I ain't sick.
He replied. A 15-year-old neighbor who befriended him understood the contradiction. She said,
We connected. We are both depressed. We don't have so many things other people have. Education, so many things. We have pain about a lot of things. He just hid it. He never talked about it. He figured nobody cared.
In July 1994, just weeks before everything would end, a juvenile court judge made a fateful decision. Robert was returned to his grandmother's home while the state searched for an out-of-state facility willing to take him. A DCFS caseworker argued against it, warning that his grandmother had never been able to control him. But the judge sent him back anyway. Robert told the psychologist that home was with his grandmother because
she buy me everything I want, clothes, toys, games, and she is a good cook.
He was still, in so many ways, just a child who wanted to be loved. But the streets weren't done with him, and in a few short weeks, the gang that had recruited him would give him his final, fateful order. The late afternoon of Sunday, August 28, 1994, was hot and thick with humidity on Chicago's South Side. For the Black Disciples, it was just another day in an ongoing war with a rival faction, the Gangster Disciples. For 11-year-old Robert "Yummy" Sandifer, it was the day his already brutal life would take a fatal turn, setting in motion a chain of violence that would shock the nation. Around 4:30 p.m., the crack of gunfire echoed through the streets near 108th and Perry. When the shooting stopped, 16-year-old Keonta Britton lay on the ground, bleeding from a gunshot wound to his abdomen. A police officer, William Callahan, knelt beside the wounded teen and asked the crucial question.
Who shot you? Yummy shot me. I think his name is Robert.
The name was familiar to the police. Robert "Yummy" Sandifer was already a known quantity in the neighborhood, a small, troubled boy with a long juvenile record and a tattoo on his forearm marking him as a Black disciple. The hunt for Yummy had begun. Less than 2 hours later, just a block away from the first shooting, another round of gunfire erupted. This time, Yummy was part of a group of gang members who opened fire on a group of teenagers. One of the bullets struck 17-year-old Sammy C., wounding him in the hand and leg. But another bullet, a stray round fired from a 9mm semi-automatic pistol, flew wide of its intended target. It struck 14-year-old Shavon Dean in the back of the head. Shavon, a quiet girl who dreamed of becoming a beautician, had only slipped out of her house moments before to walk a friend home. She died almost instantly. When police arrived at the scene, the wounded Sammy C., like Keonta Britton before him, immediately identified his shooter, Yummy. In the span of a few hours, the 11-year-old boy with the cookie-loving nickname had gone from a petty criminal to the primary suspect in a double shooting that left one teenager dead and 2 others wounded. By midnight, he was being hunted not only by the Chicago Police Department, but also by FBI agents who were already in the area investigating gang narcotics activity. Between 20 and 30 officers were now searching for the 4'6", 68-pound child. Suddenly, Yummy was no longer just a problem for social workers. He was the most wanted child in Chicago. His gaunt face, staring out from a police mugshot, was plastered across television screens. The city was horrified, an 11-year-old murderer on the loose. The FBI joined the search. For 3 days, the gang that had made him became his jailers. They shuffled him from one apartment to another, hiding him from the police. But the heat was too intense. The national spotlight was on Roseland. Gang leaders began to worry. Yummy was a liability. If the police caught him, he might talk. He knew names, faces, places. He knew too much. On the night of August 31st, tired of being hidden and scared of what might happen next, Yummy slipped away. He ended up on the porch of a neighbor, Cassandra Cooper, a place he thought was safe. He was just a little boy again, scared and alone. He asked to use the phone.
I want to turn myself into my grandmother.
He told her. He waited on the porch in the gathering dusk, so close to trading the streets for the relative safety of a jail cell. But the streets weren't done with him. From the shadows, two figures emerged. 14-year-old Derrick Hardaway and his 16-year-old brother Cragg. They were black disciples, older boys Yummy knew and trusted.
Come on, man.
Derrick said, his voice calm and reassuring.
We're gonna take you out of town, somewhere safe.
Yummy, desperate for a protector, climbed over the porch railing and got into their car. The drive was short, just over a mile to a dark, desolate railroad underpass on East 108th Street. It was a place where people came to dump things they wanted to forget. The brothers ordered him out of the car. In the gloom beneath the train tracks, they told him to kneel. At 12:20 a.m. on September 1st, 1994, Derrick Hardaway raised a gun and fired 2 bullets into the back of the 11-year-old's head. When police found his body, Yummy was lying face down in the mud. The boy who had been a weapon was now just discarded trash. News of his death sparked a different kind of horror. Time magazine put his mugshot on his cover with the headline, "So young to kill, so young to die." About 400 people attended his funeral. In a final, heartbreaking irony, the only photograph his family could find to display was the mugshot taken by the police. Derrick Hardaway was convicted of murder, and at 15, sentenced to 45 years in prison. His brother received 60 years. The gang leaders who ordered the hit were never charged. They simply found another shorty to take Yummy's place. Robert "Yummy" Sandifer was failed by his mother, failed by his father, failed by a child welfare system that documented his abuse for years without ever saving him, and ultimately murdered by the only family he had left. He was a victim who became a killer, a child who never had a chance. His 11 years on Earth were a tragedy written in cigarette burns and gang tattoos, and it ended, as it began, in darkness.